What is up, YouTube? YouTube! Mr. King coming at you live from the studio. Here's what we've got today. Here are the Beller questions. I put a fun one and then some review for the final today. Please pause the video now and answer them. Next, remember there are 2 more weeks of school, 2 more weeks of biology. Grades will be final at the end of winter. Also, you still have plenty of time to turn your grade around. If you're not happy with your grade, please start turning in your missing stuff. The exams and the projects are worth more, and same with the labs. Today you should be able to demonstrate knowledge in evolution exam. Also, I had some questions on the attendance survey, and I'm going to answer them now. Someone asked, do male colorful guppies force themselves onto females unwillingly or no? Yes. Both guppies, drab or colorful, rape female guppies. There's actually a lot of rape in the animal kingdom, sadly, mostly with insects, even like butterflies. Someone asked, do you have the form for the 12 wishes Chavez posted on the Instagram? No. I would just message the Instagram themselves. Next, how does our body just change to adapt? Like, how did our tail just know to disappear because we don't need it? Really good question. So it's likely that the humans whose tails weren't disappearing had a hard time walking way back when, so they died and couldn't pass on the traits. And fun fact, there are some people that still do get the tail, and they have to have it surgically removed. But basically, if something like is harmful, eventually evolution will select for it to not be around, like a tail for humans. Someone asked, how does our body know that we don't need a body part anymore? Another good question. So our body doesn't really know whether like something's useful or not, but people with a useless body part usually have a disadvantage and may not pass on their genes. Like the tail thing. Since the tail can cause problems, most people with a tail don't have children, and then it won't pass on their genes. Someone said, how does an organism evolve into different organisms because we look similar from embryo? So when the first human was born, it is likely that it was able to outcompete other species and survive and pass on their genes. There has to be a mutation, though, that makes a human different. So once there was this being with a mutation that made him have like a bigger brain, for example, then like it would start taking over, and then eventually there'd be more and more humans, and then like our population evolved. Next, we're going to finish those notes for on Wednesday. Please go to Wednesday Evolution Notes. We're going to do the review part now. So please pull it up. You should have evidence 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 now. Okay, but now we're going to be on the review part. First one, how does variation help animals evolve? So remember, you need a few things before something evolves. Remember, evolving is just changing over time. You need variation. You need like a variety of traits. You need competition between individuals. You need an adaptation, and then you need something to be putting pressure on the organisms to adapt. We'll go over each one. First one, variation. So variation, basically, it gives you options. Variation means like variety or different things. So if you have some traits that are unique, then just naturally some traits will be good and some will be bad. And remember, mutations, a change in your DNA, is what actually causes there to be different types of people or organisms. For example, you need variety for survival. If you had a bunch of different fish, let's say the numbers represent speed, the faster the fish, the more likely it has to survive. If you only had slow fish, then you couldn't be able to adapt because there would be no change happening. So you need variety so you can have options, and then some of those traits will be good. So that's variation. Next one, adaptation. Adaptation is basically a trait that helps you survive. So like that, these two fish that are faster, that's an adaptation. Next one, this one's new, selective pressure. We've talked about it, but we haven't given it a word. Selective pressure is just basically anything that forces an organism to adapt because they kill the non-adapted ones. So selective pressure can be predators, the environment, disease, etc. For example, let's say the shark is a selective pressure. It's putting pressure on these fish to adapt because the slower ones, like these two, will probably be killed off by this shark. And eventually the faster ones will take over the population because those are the ones that are surviving. Or like COVID. COVID is a selective pressure because it's forcing humans to evolve because eventually in 10 years, most humans will be immune to the virus because they would have either died or gotten the vaccine. And COVID was putting pressure on us to change because the other people were dying. So that's all the evolution review. Since it is a final, we're going to have some review on genetics. So I have a little Punnett square. 2 parents, heterozygous for hair mate. Big H is curly, little h is straight hair. So in your notes, at the very end, I have a little Punnett square. If both of the parents are heterozygous, use H's. What letters should they have? If you're not sure what heterozygous means, just look it up. Or if you can't remember, heterozygous, having 2 different alleles of a particular gene. So it looks like heterozygous basically means different. So like one capital, one lowercase. So if both parents are heterozygous, it should look like this. Remember, if you're heterozygous, the dominant one takes over. So if you have a big H, you'll have curly hair. If you have 2 little h's, you need 2 to have straight hair. Now do the Punnett square and then answer, what is the chance that this couple has a child with curly hair? Yep. Once you're all done with those, please turn in your notes like these 12 people did. And then go to Thursday evolution exam and take the exam. Don't worry, it's not due until Saturday. Also, I'll go over it a little bit more in detail tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with me. I hope you have a great day.